John Laurinaitis has been accused of racial discrimination by Teddy Long. TNA Wrestling has signed an ex-WWE star. And do we have a little WrestleMania 40 Bloodline spoiler for you? Make your own minds up in a bit. The always wonderful Teddy Long has been chatting away with the similarly wonderful Bill Apter, who we both love.
Yeah,
I love Bill. On WrestleBinge this week, making some pretty serious allegations towards one John Laurinaitis, of course, the former head of talent relations for WWE, now no longer with the company, implicated in the Vince McMahon and WWE lawsuit. Also, Teddy said, I don't want to hold my tongue back on John Laurinaitis, one of the worst pieces of beep on this planet, and you can do what you want to me, you can sue me all you want to, ain't nothing you're going to get except holla, holla, holla. He is a man who is going to stop me from making a living because of the colour of my skin, not because I'm not doing my job. So Teddy Long obviously was in the company in WWE for an awful long time, when John Laurinaitis held this very senior position within the company. They'll have worked together pretty extensively over the years.
I think dating back to even potentially WCW when Teddy was way back there managing and stuff. But Apter went on to ask if Long had ever spoke with John's brother Joe Laurinaitis, a Road Warrior Animal, about his alleged behaviour, and Long replied that he couldn't do that, noting the perception that would be created by a black man complaining about a white colleague, which is, again, it's just a horrible...
It's just like Teddy Long was always, he's truly beloved, and he was always so excellent at his job. I think we all look back really, really fondly, especially on his GM of SmackDown era.
The many hats he wore as well. Fantastic hat.
Yeah, he was doing a lot backstage as well. A talented performer, but seemingly a very nice guy. Fundamentally, it's just awful to hear that somebody has been discriminated against because of the colour of their skin. But it's also not surprising, given the culture of WWE throughout the years. It's baffling that this multi-billion-dollar company and industry is home to this just disgusting behaviour, and I'm glad that it feels like finally the poison is starting to be removed from WWE. I still think there's some poison left in there, and I think it's a cultural change that takes an awful long time to fully change. This is over the course of many years. Hopefully things will get better and we won't have to be talking about stuff like this anymore.
And hopefully everything will be addressed, and it's something that we can look past. We can look and move past. Into a new future with the company.
Yeah, I really do hope.
And the industry as a whole, because the fact somebody couldn't even go to somebody to kind of ask or complain or lodge some sort of complaint against behavior like this,
because he felt that he would be causing trouble, because he's a black man. Yeah, it is. Laurinaitis, of course, has been mentioned in less than glowing terms by Ronda Rousey in her new book, Our Fight. In it, she describes Laurinaitis as
a former wrestler turned WWE executive and all-around dirtbag. Laurinaitis had made a name for himself as an average but by no means outstanding wrestler before he moved into playing an in-ring authority figure type and then a producer. He looked and acted like an entitled 60-year-old former frat boy, tall, blondish, and with a cleft chin. He always appeared to be scowling, even when he smiled. His raspy voice earned him the nickname Johnny Laryngitis, which was one of the nicer things people called him. Whereas Triple H looked for talent and potential in NXT prospects, it appeared John Laurinaitis looked for affability.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time we've heard stuff like this before. It'll be very interesting to see where this, at the moment, civil lawsuit goes. John Laurinaitis is seemingly trying to throw Vince McMahon under the bus a bit and say, he had all the power, and
his lawyer referred to him as a victim too.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that sort of coming from the Laurinaitis camp, I believe.
It'll be interesting to see if people believe that.
I think when you look at the correlation of his time in positions of hiring versus how the product went, there's direct, it lines up.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, we'll keep you updated on that. Rough news to be kicking things off with, but lovely news for a former WWE star who has been signed by TNA. He's been working in the company on a per-appearance basis. We are talking about AJ Francis, of course, the former Top Dollar. He signed a deal with the company, according to Fightful Select, through the 2024 year. Apparently, he can continue working with NWA MLW and is able to work with New Japan if they want him. However, the deal prohibits WWE and AEW. This comes at a time where a lot of TNA's talent are moving. They're being shifted to per appearance deals.
We've entered a state of flux with the company surrounding. It's all stemming off the back of the Scott D'Amore situation, which understandably has caused a bit of a rift within the TNA camp. And I think we're going to see a lot more shuffling of this manner.
It's so rough, man, because they were properly on the up. The goodwill towards that company was massive. People
right on the precipice. Just right there. And then it just went.
It was handy, and I don't like to make the comparison or anything, but at that time, AEW, a lot of people were actually a bit down on AEW, and TNA stood to benefit from some of that negative fan sentiment. Toward AEW because people were getting hot on it again, and then the Scott D'Amore thing has just messed everything up, and it feels almost a bit back to square one-ish, doesn't it? And the fact that, go on,
but I think that with enough people, if they can convince enough people that they mean well and they have a good direction for the company and they can get people to stay, I think it's you can build on from what Scott D'Amore's built. But I think the problem is that there's loyalty to Scott D'Amore there for a lot of people, and it's amazing. Again, like it feels like we've just sort of went completely off point here. It's amazing for AJ Francis. I think he's a really good get for TNA. I think he's somebody in terms of like in-ring charisma. I think he's somebody that would fit right in. Yeah, he doesn't necessarily bring things you'd associate with TNA, like the high-flying, crazy division stuff. But
play the clip.
But I think he's somebody that's going to fit right in there with the company. But at the same time, it's how many people are going to be left that we are used to currently on the roster. How many more faces are going to see come into the company, and what's the company going to look like after that?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, when so many big names are going to be moving to these per appearance deals.
I mean, you potentially losing the Motor City Machine Guns, completely.
Is it writing on the wall? Like,
you say about not because we're right there.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, hey, look, the TNA's a cockroach in the nicest possible way. You can't get rid of TNA, so it's fine. I think it's difficult to get that positive fan sentiment back on TNA's side when the talent have been so clear about the fact that they're gutted that Scott D'Amore's gone and they don't agree with this new direction of the company, new management specifically.
Is the naming rights for Impact Wrestling available? Could Scott D'Amore just go and start Impact Wrestling and take a load of talent?
I like it. There you go. An absent WWE star is going to be attending WrestleMania 40. This is exciting. After a year away, she's had her first kid with Corey Graves. Carmella said that she's going to be coming to WrestleMania 40 on Twitter. Don't necessarily expect to see her on the show itself, but she said, so excited to announce that I'll be seeing you all in Philly next week for WrestleMania Friday. She's going to be there at 1:45 at WWE World, 11 a.m. if you want to go and meet her for $60. Can't wait to see everyone again and remind you that Mella is mummy, crossed out, money. Hope you guys didn't forget about me. I love Carmella. I think Carmella is so awesome, really truly underrated. She's going to make such a statement when she returns. I think if they do it just right, I think you can bring Carmella back in a very kind of shocking way, I think. I hope so. And
I think a lot of people are just sort of, I think everybody's getting used to sort of life without Carmella now, but if you reintroduce her at the right point, at the right time, I think you could really shake things up.
I hope they do. I feel like maybe they've I don't want to say given up on her, but I don't think she'll rise to where she was. The women's division looks totally different now, doesn't it?
This is it. So, it's sort of different lay of the land.
We'll look back in like 10 odd years' time and talk about the era of women's wrestlers that Carmella was amongst. And she'll be one of the forgotten names, I think. And I think that's unfair because actually the progress that she made, she was really, really great with the character work, but her in-ring work got really good. She was a worthy women's champion. And I want people to put respect on the name of
One more run.
Yeah, one more. No, I hope she does come back, and I hope she's really. I think she's class. Paul Heyman is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Of course, he's being a guest on the Rich Eisen show. And gave some insight into his Hall of Fame prep, or lack of prep, like me. What's he said, sir?
He hasn't written a speech. Apparently, he said, "I'm going to figure it out as we go along. I'm going to take the pulse of the room that night. I'm going to wing this because I don't really know what the crowd itself's expecting from me. Is this a crowd that wants me to talk about modern day WWE? Of course, that's all they want. Is this a crowd that in Philadelphia wants to talk about ECW? Never, no. It's a crowd that's looking for some inspiration and a speech about pursuing one's own dreams, etc., etc. I really won't know until I take the temperature of the room that night. And as you know better than I, you always have to know your audience. So once I feel the crowd, I pretty much know what I'll have to deliver for them. So it sounds like he's writing mentally about 50 speeches at once. He's going to walk out there and be like, right,
Yeah.
They want some of this, they want some of that, they don't want...
Sounds like he's
XYZ.
talking bollocks to me.
It does. There's going to be a teleprompter. There's going to be clips.
Imagine being
They reveal he's been on an earpiece the entire time, his entire career. There's been somebody else behind him.
Having confidence in one's abilities that much to be able to just go, yeah, I'll just wing it on the night. One of the most, like, the biggest thing, it's a massive accomplishment for people. People, like, wait their entire careers to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm sure it's not that big a deal for Paul Heyman specifically, but, like, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And he probably will just go out there and wing it. He'll have some ideas, some bullet points.
It's ultimately the Hall of Fame, though. He could go out there and he could just bubble for like 5 minutes, and then everybody'd still stand up, applaud, and then he could walk off.
It's Paul Heyman, isn't it? Speaking of Paul Heyman, Bloodline-related news. Potentially, PW Insider confirming more WWE legends heading to WrestleMania 40, including Jerry the King Lawler.
Getting in the Bloodline.
Yep, Medusa.
In the Bloodline.
Cowboy Bob Orton.
Definitely in the Bloodline.
However, another name confirmed by PW Insider may give a little indication as to what might go down on the show. Potentially, make up your own minds here. Rikishi's there. Big Quiche.
I don't see it.
No?
What's he got to do with Bloodline?
No, he's not got Cowboy Bob Orton and Medusa. He's going to be there. I mean, he's going to be there anyway. He's always like around for the signings. That's how he makes his money now.
We've got his sons going head to head, right? Like,
I think he will get involved.
I think having Rikishi front and center, even if he doesn't get involved in the match, but having him front and center, like on ringside. You know, when sometimes they put the, you know, we've seen the Rock's man at ringside,
special guest ref shirt on.
But I think having a camera that can kind of keep cutting to Rikishi and using it as storyline throughout the match is going to be a thing, right?
Yeah, I think he probably will get involved.
And if he doesn't stop them fighting and then they just dance for 20 minutes, that would be...
That's all you need. Get the glasses.
And then Jimmy just refuses to help Roman for the rest of the weekend. He's too busy.
Rikishi's there. Is the news. He might get involved. He might not. You'll have to tune in, which I'm sure you will, next week. We've got a big weekend of WrestleMania-related content coming.
Big old stretch of weeks.
It is. Oh, yeah. Of course, it's a bank holiday today. I forgot about that. Hope you're enjoying your bank holiday. If you are off today, keep an eye on the channel. We got loads and loads of WrestleMania-related content. Some really, really good stuff coming up. So keep an eye. We will see you in a little bit.